Welcome back to another episode of Angry Activists. I hope everyone listening is doing well today. Personally, I am tired and a bit overwhelmed and stressed just a little bit. This week is finals week for me, so yeah, that's not fun at all. But I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this semester. So just looking forward to that. But before we get into today's topic, I did want to talk about some new DACA news. In one of my previous episodes, I did mention DACA news, and this is something that I'm always going to try and mention because it's something that's important to me and I think people need to know about. So the new news is that a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to reinstate DACA, meaning that they should be accepting new applications and that the protections for DACA should be for 2 years instead of the 1 year. Again, because of the whole thing with Secretary of Homeland Security, So, yeah, that's really great news, but I'm also kind of worried that I think he's going to still try to do something once again to get rid of it before he leaves. So, USCIS, I think it is. We just need them to cooperate and follow through with this order, right? So, yeah, that's the news. Celebrating this really great news, and I hope that new people are able to apply for DACA. Yeah, so that's that on that. Yeah, so this week I wanted to talk about college because obviously I'm a college student, if you didn't know, and also it's finals week for me, and I've been really reflecting on my college experience and college as a whole, and that's something that I really wanted to discuss. So, I mean, first of all, I think it's ridiculous how expensive college is. I think it's just ridiculous, even for a public state school. I think average is about 25,000, right, for in-state college, state college, public college, and that is just insane. And obviously so many people are in debt because of college, and I think that's kind of messed up. Like, why should we be punished for trying to pursue an education and better ourselves and trying to get a career that will make us money but also that we will enjoy? And so that I have an issue with that, and I know there's a lot of talk about should college be free and things like that, and personally I don't think that college should be free. Maybe community college, but 4-year college, I think that it should be affordable. I think, for example, community college, at least where I went, if you're a full-time student, 12 credit hours, it was just under 2,000. One semester, right? Let's round it up to 2,000. That means that you're paying around 4, maybe 5,000 adding the fees, right? For community college, maybe even less. And I think that's a really affordable price. And I think that should be the price for regular public 4-year colleges. I think it should be affordable. And that's just that on that, because obviously nowadays you really can't get a decent paying job without at least a bachelor's degree. And not only that, but for certain jobs, at least from what I've seen and in my field, I'm going into social work. And I sometimes on my free time I will look up what kind of jobs there are and the pay for someone with a bachelor's. And it's honestly ridiculous. Some places they want you to have a bachelor's and they want to pay you $12 an hour, which is ridiculous. And even with a master's degree, some places will also only just want to pay you like 15, 16 an hour, which is, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, celebrate the little wins, right? And this isn't even a little win, this is a big win. Now we just kind of need the amount of money that you spend to get that education does not line up with the amount of money that you're going to earn. And now I don't know much about economics and things like that, but I think that that's an issue where we have people with degrees going into their field and they're being paid less than they should be. And also sometimes these places, they want like years of experience and this and that, and they want you to have this education and they want you to have years of experience, but they only want to pay you 15 an hour. And it's like, make it make sense. That doesn't make sense. That's not, that kind of makes me mad, because I don't think it's fair for us to be busting our asses off in school and in college and put ourselves in debt for us to be paid 15 an hour. I believe like restaurant managers get paid around that. I think maybe even more. And it's just ridiculous to me. And kind of talking about the cost of college, I believe, I'm not sure what the price was like back in the day, but I do know it was affordable. Meaning you could work part-time at McDonald's and still be able to pay for college. Now, people can't do that. You can't work minimum wage and be able to pay for college. You can't work minimum wage and be able to live in general. So we see again, I don't know much about economics, but to me, I'm just talking in context of common sense, right? So to me, it doesn't make sense how colleges continue to up their tuition rates, yet we're not seeing the same for the careers we're going into after we graduate, right? And I think part of it might have to do with just the college, because I think colleges set their own prices, I believe. I'm not sure, but to me that sounds right. Like, they set their own prices, and I think a lot of colleges, I don't understand why they're charging so much. I mean, personally, I went to community college on what I was paying. Seemed to be enough, to pay faculty and staff and to have a nice college and all these things. So I don't understand why these 4-year colleges are charging so much for a class. It's just ridiculous. And private schools are even more expensive. I guess on the plus side, sometimes they are able to offer a bit more help in terms of financial aid. Sometimes they offer a lot more scholarships internally and things like that. But still, I think it's ridiculous. And also the prestige of going to certain colleges, I think is kind of stupid. I just think that where you go to college shouldn't matter as long as you are getting a good education and making good connections and gaining something from it. I really don't like the whole prestige aspect of certain colleges because at the end of the day, these colleges don't care about you. It's a business. At the end of the day, it's basically a business, and that's why they charge so much. I mean, yes, you can argue that they offer really great, like they have really nice dorms, or they have really good food, or their staff is like top of the top, right? But I don't know. I just don't like it. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, and so like I said, nowadays people need a degree to get a job, even if it's not decent paying. And sometimes for certain careers, you also need to go back to college. It's not just the typical 4 years. Sometimes you have to go back and you have to get a master's degree, or you have to get a doctorate degree to get paid more or be able to be in a leadership role, right? And so that sucks. That not only do we have to go get our bachelor's, but sometimes we have to get our master's, and people just get in so much debt because of that. And again, they're not able to pay off their debt because the jobs aren't paying them what they should be paying them. And yeah, that makes me very angry. And I always joke with my friends that saying that college is a scam. And I say college is a scam, but I'm still gonna graduate and I'm still going. But yeah. So I understand why a lot of people don't go to college. I know part of it is a price, because it's just ridiculous how expensive it is, and the outcome does not always add up to what it costs, right? And another thing is, I think for first generation students, I think that college can be exciting but also very scary. I speak from personal experience because I myself am a first generation college student, and I remember just being so confused about the language. What is a credit hour? What does a major and a minor mean? What does being undergraduate or graduate mean? And there's just all these terms and things about college, financial aid, and things like that I didn't understand. And it was really hard because I couldn't go to my parents, and I'm the oldest, so I kind of had to figure all this stuff out. And that was kind of hard, but I'm also very grateful for all my mentors and all the people who kind of helped me figure things out. And yeah, I think college for first generation kids can be hard because you're trying to figure all this things out about college, but on top of that, you're trying to figure out who you are and what you like and where you want to go in life. And it's definitely a stressful time. So be kind to college students. It's crazy when you are the first person in your family to get an education, because it's hard. It really is hard. And personally for me, on top of being a first generation student, I'm also a DACA student, or an undocumented student, meaning that comes with extra barriers. I remember opening up to my high school counselor, I think it was my junior year or my senior year, I don't remember, but I remember opening up to him and thinking, I I don't think I can go to college, and because I don't think I can afford it. And it was just really upsetting to think about that. And the counselor did not know how to respond, or how to help, because this was a white man. He didn't understand, and I don't think he had other students who were in my same position, because the school I went to was mainly white kids, white students who won't have to deal with this, most likely. They most likely don't have this issue, and because they're born here. And the biggest thing for me was I couldn't get financial aid. I remember when I was looking up colleges to go to, at first I wanted to go to an art school, and it was a private school, and it was so expensive. It was so expensive. It was like 60 grand a year, something like that, ridiculous. And I remember looking at tuition, and I didn't really understand what in-state and out-of-state tuition meant, and I was kind of confused, because I was like, well, I live here, but I wasn't born here. What does that mean, right? What does that mean for me? And so I was really scared that I couldn't go to college, and for me that was a big goal, was to go to college, because again, none of my parents had gone to college, and I was the oldest. And in my mind, my parents came here to the United States so that I could pursue an education and make a career and be successful, right? And break out of the cycle of poverty, or not poverty, but low income, right? And so that I really struggled with that, with thinking about college. I mean, eventually I ended up going to community college and learning and figuring all this stuff out. But yeah, I think being undocumented or DACA definitely adds another layer to it. So if any of you listening are first gen and DACA, or undocumented, I have major respect for you guys. I think it's definitely very hard, but we're getting there. And another thing about college that I want to touch on is how we romanticize, I guess, being hard workers, right? Or being burnt out. And I personally have experienced burnt out. I think I have a problem where I find it hard to say no to opportunities. And sometimes I would take on too many things at once and stress myself out and get burned out and have a mental breakdown. I had way too many of those. And I think I'm not the only person. I speak, obviously I chat with my friends and we talk about things like this, and I think it's really unhealthy that so much stress is put on to college students, and I think particularly to students of color and first generation students as well. I think there's just an immense amount of pressure, not just by our family, right? Because especially for first gen, like, that's a huge thing for our family, but also from society and from ourselves. I think personally I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the best and get as much as I can get done and take advantage of all these opportunities that are presented to me. And I think we get burnt out because of all these expectations about what we're supposed to be doing, right? One of my friends, she talked to me about how she has felt like very overwhelmed and burnt out and had a mental breakdown, and and wants to draw. Sometimes jokingly thinks about dropping out. And I think that's kind of unhealthy. We just pile on so much stuff, I think, sometimes. For example, I had this time last year. I was a part time student, so I was taking 3 classes, so 9 credit hours. I was a secretary of a club, so I was on the board of a club. I was attempting to start my own club on the campus. I was working. I think I was working 2 jobs too. I was working 1 job on the weekends, 1 job during the week, and then I think I also was working on this other project. And I remember I had a mental breakdown in my car. And it was just terrible. I was just like, this is too much. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I want to get all these things done though, because this is what's going to help me later on in life, and this and that. And I was so burnt out at that point. And I'm really trying to break out of that habit, but it's really hard when you have all these expectations on you from your family, from society, and honestly just from yourself. But I think that we need to keep in mind our mental health and our limits, because we do have limits and we can't do everything. And like I mentioned before, I kind of have this thing where I have trouble turning down opportunities, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that because I'm a first generation college student, I've never had certain opportunities, right? And so when I am presented with certain opportunities, I feel like I need to take them, and if I don't, it's gonna escape from me and I'll never get an opportunity like that again. And I'm trying to remind myself that it's not the end of the world, and that I will get more opportunities as long as I continue to work hard. But yeah, I think that's something a lot of people can relate to. And it's kind of messed up that we treat ourselves that way. And I hope this serves as a reminder to treat yourself well and to take care of yourself and not push yourself to the point of burnout and mental breakdowns. So, something else in regards to college that I really wanted to talk about is how COVID has really changed the whole college experience. At least for me, doing everything online. I did everything online this past semester, and for spring, I will also be online. And I'm curious kind of to see how next school year is gonna look like because of this, because I definitely think that because of COVID, our lives will be changed forever, and I think certain things are never gonna go back to the way they were, and it's crazy. And I think it has revealed how there's chance for opportunities. Like, for example, with classes, we do remote learning now, so meaning that we Zoom with the teacher and they teach that way. And I think that would be a really great tool for the future. Have classes. Maybe this could be a type of class now. Maybe we can have in-person class, fully online class, and then remote learning classes. And I think that would be really great for students who like that kind of style, right? And obviously, a lot of events have been canceled, and we can't have large gatherings either. So, and a lot of college is the experience, right? The social aspect as well. is important, I know, to a lot of people. That's why a lot of people go to four-year colleges right after high school, because they want that college experience. Not the educational part, but like the social aspect of making friends and going out and being at parties and being independent because you're living on your own. But COVID has definitely changed that. I mean, some people probably didn't go back to their dorms, or those that did, you have to be in your dorm all day. You can't really go out, right? And so I think that COVID has really changed what we think about the typical college experience. And I'm curious to see how COVID's gonna change the way that the college experience is. So, yeah, that should be interesting. And I kind of wanted to talk about my personal college experience and, hopefully give some tips about college as a first generation DACA student. So, kind of like I said earlier already, kind of my journey to starting. I ended up going to community college, and I was a part-time student. I only took 2 classes my first semester, and I was just trying to figure things out. And not only that, but figure out what my options were and who I was and all these different things. And in the area that I live, the community college and community college in general, I think, is very looked down upon. I think that people think that going to community college is like a last resort, and it's for people who couldn't get into four-year colleges and things like that. And for me, community college was a no-brainer, and it was the best option for me. And part of it was, yes, I couldn't really afford a 4-year college, and that was just that. I couldn't afford to do that. And I think I also wasn't ready at the time to leave and to move out. I think I desperately wanted to move out. But I think at the end of the day, I wasn't ready to move out. And also, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was so uncertain. I went in, and my major in mind was going to be communications, because I thought it was a broad enough major that I could find something that I would really enjoy. And obviously, as time went by, I began to realize what I actually liked and what I didn't, and where I wanted to go. And so, honestly, going to community college was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. At community college, I met so many great people, and I actually got involved a lot with the extracurriculars and things like that. I think that really made my time at community college. And because I kind of went into the mindset of that my experience there was what I was going to make it, right? I could either be miserable about it and go to class and then go to work and then come home. Or I could try and get involved and meet people and make friends and things like that. And I'm so glad that I did that, because I met some of my closest friends that way, and I also got so many opportunities as well. So many doors opened for me just by involving myself. And I had really great mentors as well, and advisors who really helped me grow and figure out who I am. And so that was really great. Not only that, but I got a good education as well. I got my associates, and then I transferred. And even though it wasn't your typical college experience, I think it was pretty great. I definitely had a newfound sense of independence, even though I was still living at home. I, again, got so many opportunities. I think I went to like 3 or 4 different conferences, and I was able to build up my leadership skills. And it's stuff now that I put on my resume, and people are impressed by. And so I really think that your experiences are what you make it. If you try and involve yourself and put yourself out there, then opportunities are definitely going to open up. And I highly encourage you guys to go to community college if you don't know what you want to do or can't afford a 4-year college. I remember at one of my jobs that I had, the girl that was training me, she was a senior, and I kind of talked to her like, oh, so you're going to go to college next year? And she's like, yeah. And I asked her what college she was going to go to and if she knew what she wanted to major in. And she told me where she wanted to go to college. And she said that she didn't know what she wanted to do, but that she was just going to go in undecided. And she was just looking forward to the college experience. And I really wanted to tell her, like, if you don't know what you want to do, I recommend just going to community college. But I obviously didn't say that to her because I didn't want to make it seem like I was telling her how to live her life. And also, I didn't really know her like that. I was just like, oh, okay, that's nice. But yeah, and actually after her freshman year, I think it was, or I think after her first semester, she came back and ended up going to the community college to continue her education. And she was like, oh, well, I'm in debt now. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. Sometimes people will go to a 4-year college even though they know they can't afford it, or even if they don't know what they want to do and they just go in undecided, right? But they just spend so much money and get in debt, And so that's why I highly encourage community college. I mean, if you can afford to go to 4-year college and if you know what you want to do, then go for it. I'm just saying, if you don't know what you want to do, or you can't afford to go to 4-year college, but you know that you want to go to college, community college is a great way to start, and it's so much cheaper. Let me tell you guys, I'm a junior, like I said, and by the end of this year, in May, I will have gone through halfway of my college career with no debt. 0 debt. Because I went to community college. I did pay a little bit, but I also got scholarships, so that saved me a lot of money. The school I'm at right now is one of the most affordable colleges, actually, in Illinois for a 4-year. And I got some scholarships too as well, and financial aid from the RISE Act. And yeah, by the end of this year, I will not have any debt, and knock on wood that I can graduate with no debt, that I get enough aid senior year to graduate debt-free. And so that was one of the best decisions, was to go to community college and to live at home. At home, I'm not paying rent. I mean, obviously, I do help my parents with certain expenses and things like that. And obviously, I pay for all my own expenses as well. So, yeah, again, I really hope that I can graduate debt-free, and I hope that you guys take this advice into consideration. I also kind of wanted to talk about my experience transferring. So this year was when I transferred, this fall, and it kind of sucked, to be honest, because let me tell you guys, I have not gone and visited the college that I attend. Actually, I was going to visit literally, I think, a week after everything shut down, basically. Like when everything started to get canceled, I was like, what the heck? Because I was gonna go on a trip to go see the college. And so that was upsetting. And obviously I started the semester off in a virtual setting, and I still haven't seen the college in person. And yeah, it really sucked. I really struggled with the whole transfer process. There were some like issues with my tuition rate, again because of my citizenship status. There were some issues just with my tuition rate, and that was kind of frustrating. And just the whole online classes kind of sucked. And like I said, I'm a community college. I was really involved, and I was really looking forward to getting involved at this college, and I just really struggled. Also with my mental health, I kind of fell into a depressive kind of state, and I started to get really anxious as well. And some of my classes were not making it easy. I had a lot of group projects, and they were not fun because of the people that I had to work with. And this last 2 weeks of class have been very frustrating. Again, with my group projects, my partners don't want to communicate with me. And then I had another issue in another class where I guess me and my group did an assignment wrong, and we were just going off of what the teacher said, and we were just annoyed. And we felt like it was not even our fault. We felt like it was our professor's fault. But if we tell the professor, hey, you messed up, she's gonna get pissed and all these things. And yeah, I mean, thankfully I'm almost done. I just have to turn in a presentation, and I also have to do a presentation on Wednesday. So I'm almost done, but let me tell you, this semester has just been terrible for me. But I'm keeping my hopes up that next semester will be better, I hope. When it came to picking a major for me, I think that's one of the scariest and biggest things for students is when you have to pick a major. And it's so crazy how our society makes us think that, by society I mean here in the United States, but how our society makes it seem like we have to pick at age 18, literal children, we have to decide what we want to do for the rest of our lives. That's what they make us think, right? And at age 18, we're only starting to figure out ourselves and figure out who we are and what we like and where our passions lie and all these things. And for a lot of kids, we don't know. I mean, there definitely are some kids who know, and they've always been knew that they wanted to do this in life, and that's great. But I don't think that's the case for a lot of people. And like I said, for myself, I started off with communications, and then I wanted to do political science, and then I was like, no, I want to do social work. And even now, I kind of also think about if I made the right choice and things like that. But I think that we should really normalize taking a year off of school. I think a lot of people believe that they need to go to school right after high school. If that's their plan, if their plan is to go to college, they think that they need to go right away. and that they need to finish in 4 years. And you really don't have to. I mean, I believe that you should go to college at your own pace. I mean, for example, I'm going to graduate, not within, I'm going to I would have been in school for 5 years by the time I graduate. And that's like a year later than what most people would. But I think that should be normal. There's a lot of people who take, a while, a few more years to finish school, and I think that's fine. And I think we should normalize that, and we should normalize telling kids it's okay if it doesn't take you 4 years. It's okay if you need to be a part-time student. It's okay if you don't finish within the 4 years, and I think we really need to normalize that, because I think there's just a lot of stress that comes along with that, and also deciding what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I know a lot of people change their majors too, which is, again, totally fine and normal. So many people do that. I just think it's ridiculous, though, how our society makes a child make one of the most important decisions of their life at such a young age. But I mean, as you grow, you learn more about yourself and what you like. And everyone's experience is also going to be different. And I think that's something to normalize. I think with media and things like that, we see this type of life, right? The college life. This is what college is supposed to be like and supposed to look like. And while for some, yes, that may be their experience, but it's not going to be everyone's same experience, right? So I think that's really important to let people know. But yeah, I think I've gone on way too long about this, and I'll most likely make a part 2 talking about college. I would really like to have like one of my friends also come on and talk about their experience. But yeah, in conclusion, college is too expensive and it's a scam. I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, college is ridiculously expensive. And again, community college is a really good choice. And if you do go, to make the best of it and you won't regret it. And also, I want to remind you guys it's okay to take breaks and take your time with school. I mean, it's going to be there, and just be smart about it and don't rush yourself, especially if you're not sure. And I also want to acknowledge the fact that college isn't for everyone. Some people don't want to go to college, or some people would rather pursue a short-term career, like a 2-year career, 2-year education, right, for a career. Or some people just don't want to go to college at all, and that's okay. I think, we need to normalize that as well, that it's not for everyone, and not everyone wants to go to college or needs to, for that matter, right? And yeah, so I'm wishing you all the best of luck. If you are a college student, just letting you know you're almost there. We're almost there. And the finish line is almost there. And take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Don't burn yourself out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast today. And I will see you guys next week. I'll be uploading another episode next week. So, yeah.